Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fun and awesome episode of Youth Connect. I'm Aiden.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin.
Hello, I am Logan.
And welcome to our Youth Connect. Hello, everybody. I hope that you guys are having a fantabulous Friday. Today is going to be tons of fun, tons of excitement. And I will say in advance, we do not have Jeffrey for some live music. Jeff is currently taking a bit of a rest, and that's okay because everybody needs to take a pause, especially on these warm and very hot kind of days. So we will have a recording of Jeff. Do not worry, you'll still get your live music, just not live music, more like a pre-recorded live music. Anyways, I know this is going to be a show that you are going to absolutely love. And if you are new to the show, Youth Connect is a show that is created to give you a whole bunch of news, whether that be gaming news, whether that be world news, some interesting facts, cooking knowledge, whatever it is, we have a ton of awesome things to share with you that you definitely won't see in your regular news broadcast. I hope that you guys are super excited because if you know, the first thing that we always have to do is some gaming news. Okay, so let's keep it moving. Now, I'm going to talk to you your game of the week. This is a game that's either come out recently, coming out soon, or is an old classic. And I had a lot of ideas in my head what I wanted to share with you guys today, but I think it was very important that I share this one out of all of them. So today's game of the week is Elden Ring Night Rain. So not only did we get one DLC, but we are getting two Elden Ring DLCs. And Elden Ring Night Rain is out now and is actually already stirring up the lands between and the fan base. Also, hold on, guys. We're having some things. Yeah, I'm just going to make sure to keep it muted, whatever. Anyways, I will say this massive DLC is going to be plunging players into the realm of Shadow, a dark, twisted new landscape tied to the very interesting and unique demigod Miguela. And it's got it all: cryptic storytelling, new disturbing enemies, towering bosses, from some weapons here and there, and enough challenge to make any veteran tarnished rethink their life choices. But I will say not everyone is singing top praises about this game. While many players are still loving the expanded lore and brutal combat as per usual, others are calling it too punishing, even by From Software standards. Performance issues and difficulty spikes have sparked some mixed reviews, making Night Rain one of the most decisive chapters in the Elden Ring saga so far. But if you guys like Elden Ring and you want to check out the DLC, I recommend that you do. Personally, I'm not going to touch it because it has a $90 price tag on it. And personally, I don't think $90 is worth it for a DLC of a game, which apparently has very little weapon content and more so focuses on new bosses. Anyways, I hope that you check out Elden Ring Night Rain. Sounds still pretty exciting, but is it worth the price tag? That depends on you guys. Anyways, I'm going to keep it moving. And next up, we have Kevin with some all-important news, sports, and weather, but most importantly, that interesting fact that's going to be shared.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Youth Connect News, which I bring news, sports, weather, and your favorite interesting fact. I'm your host, Kevin Aruja. So let's get right into the headlines. Ontario to amend mining bill, add indigenous economic zones amid First Nations uproar. The new details release of proposed hovercraft service between downtown Toronto and Niagara region. Crews dig up key intersection of unopened Mississauga LRT due to track rework. And the Blue Jays belt 4 homers and 12 out of 0 out of athletics. The Premier Doug Ford's government is set to Premier Doug Ford government is set to capitulate to some First Nation demands on a controversial mining bill though it would not unharm the proposed law outright despite the growing backlash. Indigenous Affairs Minister Greg Rickford and Mining Minister Stephen Lachey said the province will amend Bill 5 to explicitly include duty to consult provisions throughout the legislation. The bill, which seeks to speed up mining projects, was set to go through amendments on Wednesday at committee as it moves towards becoming law. The province has framed the omnibus bill, which critics say also guts protection for endangered and threatened species, as necessary to combat the instability created by U.S. President Donald Trump and his tariffs. The new legislation would create so-called special economic zones where it can suspend provincial and municipal laws, but it will also add in special indigenous economic zones at the request of First Nations for projects they want to fast-track. The province is set to designate the Ring of Fire in northern Ontario as the first such zone, a move that has set off a firestorm of anger among First Nations, many of which have pledged to take the fight to the land and the courts. But Rookford and Lachey said the province will not designate the Ring of Fire a special economic zone until it meaningfully consults with all First Nations in the area. The Chiefs of Ontario, which represent all 133 First Nations in the province, said the bill should not be harmed outright so they can be consulted from the start. Their leader, Ontario Regional Chief Abraham Benedict, met with Ford last week at the Premier's home, where he told them about the problem with the bill. Rickford and Lachey said there are first infrastructure projects they want to complete and to help to some remote First Nations get off diesel gas that they use for electricity generation. They are also proposing to help build roads to connect communities to the provincial highway system, since climate change is wreaking havoc with the winter ice roads the communities rely on to haul in all sorts of goods. Rookford pointed to the government's announcement last week that will triple the province amount of loan guarantee through a provincial Indigenous financing program to the tune of $3 billion, as per Ontario's commitment to economic reconciliation with First Nations. The new details are emerging about the proposed hovercraft service that aims to transport tourists and commuters alike across Lake Ontario between Toronto and Niagara region in just 30 minutes. At that event at the Toronto Region Board of Trade on Wednesday, officials with Hoverlink Ontario explained how the service, which recently cleared a significant hurdle, it will alleviate congestion along one of the province's busiest highways and make it more attractive for people to travel to two of Ontario's largest tourist destinations. Last month, officials confirmed that a 30-year agreement had been signed with Ports of Toronto, bringing the service one step closer to reality. Passengers will travel by hovercraft between Billy Bishop Airport and a facility that will be built at Port Weller, St. Catharines. The total trip time is estimated to be 30 minutes. The am- the am- no, the amphibious vehicle is set to travel over land, water, ice, and other surfaces. Blowers produce a large volume of air below the hull of the vessel to create an air cushion, allowing it to float 1.8 meters above the surface. Additional fans and propellers move the craft forward. Hovercraft are currently used by the Canadian Coast Guard for rescue and icebreaking mission. Officials says that while the vessels have been used for decades to transport people in the United Kingdom, a similar passenger service does not yet exist in North America. No official timeline has been announced for the launch of service, but Port says Hoverlink has done everything it can to facilitate getting the service up and running as soon as possible. Ticket pricing has not been released, but the company says it will be comparable to other existing ground public transit option fares in the region. Port says Hoverlink will operate its own shuttle base at St. Catharines with limited stops. It will take passengers to the Fallsview Hilton, downtown Niagara-on-the-Lake, Fort George, and Niagara College. The site of construction for commutes on Huron Ontario Street in Mississauga isn't new. but at the north end of the day are seeing a familiar sight as crews are rebuilding tracks for the yet to be opened Hazel McCallion's Light Rail Transit or LRT line. Located at the corner of Pure Ontario Street and Top Flight Drive beside the Mississauga and Brampton border as well as Highway 407. The intersection will serve as a main juncture point for the LRT trains getting to and from the nearby maintenance and storage facility. Google Street View imagery from September 2023 showed newly laid tracks and constructions occurring at the intersection, which also acts as a main entry point for the commercial and industrial area. There is also a nearby Ghost Transit Park and Ride lot where Myway and Brampton Transit buses stop too. However, when City News revisited the area, similar construction has seen again. Video capture showed freshly poured concrete and track beds where trains would eventually travel over. A construction notice issued by Metrolinx, the Ontario Government Transportation Agency overseeing the private sector consortium responsible for the building on the 19-stop 5.4 billion dollars line early in the area said the work will take place between mid-April and the end of July. The notice said there is necessary track rework and that has been done to ensure safe operations for the future light rail vehicles. There was no additional information provided on the exact scope of work or what was unsafe. City News took a close look at the project at the end of 2023. The line itself was supposed to be substantially completed in 2024, but they were indications that the deadline would not be met. Metrolinx officials wouldn't provide a new targeted opening date. While there has been progress in Keys area like the southern terminal at Port Credit GO station and near Square One shopping center, on parts of the line such as at north of Highway 407, track construction hasn't started at all. It comes amid of commitment of Ford government to extend the line into downtown Brampton. In sports news, Ernie Clement and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit homers in Toronto's 8-run second inning to help power the Blue Jays to the 12-0 route of the Athletics on Thursday night at Rogers Centre. Clement smacked a 3-run shot that added a 2-run double later in a frame as the Blue Jays battled around. Guerrero hit a 2-run rainbow blast that left him tied for the team led with 8 homers this season. Athletic star Jacob Lopez, 0 out of 3, was chased after recording in just 5 outs. He gave up 6 hits, a walk, and 7 earned runs. Toronto piled on a third inning as Bo Bichette and George Springer went deep off reliever Anthony Maldonado. The Blue Jays' 18-hit outburst was a welcome development for a team that managed 6 total runs and was a 4 for 45 with runners in scoring position over his recent 6 games road trip. Bichette scored twice and drove in 3 runs. Clement and Alejandro Kirk had 3 hits apiece. Toronto's first straight home win lifted the team back to the .500 mark at 28 out of 28. My apologies. The Athletics have dropped 8 straight road games. Blue Jays stars Jose Barreros was in full control over his 6th inning appearance. He allowed 2 hits, 2 walks, and had 9 strikeouts. Right-hander Chris Bassett has tapped the start for Toronto on Friday against left-hander Jeffrey Springs. The Blue Jays have yet to confirm the starter for Saturday. Right-hander Kevin Gausman will get the nod for Sunday's series finale. In today's weather forecast, we got a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon. The temperature is now 23 degrees. And tomorrow we will get mainly sunny. The temperature will be 14 degrees. And now moving forward for the interesting fact, we are talking about coins. Coins were first made of scraps of metal. Ancient coins were produced through a process of hitting a hammer precision over an anvil. The rich iconography of the obverse of the early electrum coins contrasts with the dull appearance of the reverse, which usually carries only punch marks. A coin's value as a collector's item or as an investment generally depends on its condition. specific historical significance, rarity, quality, beauty of the design, and its generally popularity with collectors. If a coin is greatly lacking in all of these, it is unlikely to be worth much. So I got 6 interesting facts about coins. The first fact is, where did coin tossing begin? In ancient Rome, the emperor word was law. So if a coin landed heads up, you had to respect the will of the emperor and carry out the action decided for that side. In Britain, the practice was called cross and pile, taking its name from an indentation from the hammer used to press the metal as the coin was struck. Number 2, can flipping a coin lead to happiness? Well, this was certainly the conclusion of one study at Stephen D. Levitt, Department of Economics, University of Chicago. He conducted a field experiment where research subjects who were struggling to decide by flipping a coin to help determine their choice. Those who were told by the coin toss to make a change reported that they were substantially happier several months later. The third fact is, what's the world's most valuable coin? Money can be worth far more than its printed value. Take the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar, for instance, which cost $10 million, making it to the world's most expensive coins. This has said to be the first silver coin to have been minted and issued by the US federal government in 1794, and worth a lot more than your average $1 coin. The fourth fact is coin and ships. What's the connection? Sailors are a superstitious lot and favor traditions and ceremonies that bring good luck while building a new ship. One of these is a coin ceremony, whereby mariners place 1 or 2 coins under the keel block of the new ship to bring good luck. The tradition dates to Roman times, where coins attached to ships that were said to provide divine protection. The fifth fact is, why do people toss coins to the Trevi fountain? The coin toss became the ritual after the 1954 romantic comedy film Three Coins in the Fountain. Around 1.5 million euros in coins is collected each year for the fountain and donated to Carita Roma, a charity for the poor and homeless. And last fact is, and what's the least valuable coin? How can 2,000 coins be worth the same as 1 cent? That's the case, however, with Uzbekistan's Tayin coin, the coin worth less than any other worldwide. The Tayin is still legal tender but rarely found in circulation. When we come to the end of my segment, tune in for next week's news, weather, and your favorite interesting fact. This is Kevin Aruja, and it's back to you, Aiden. See you next week.
Okay. So there was actually quite a bit of information there. But I thought that was the most interesting thing was a $10 million coin. Now, I don't collect coins as much as anybody else, but I do like looking at the very fancy coins. Kevin, are you a big coin collector? Is that why you were discussing about coins today?
Just a topic about coins.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I know that a lot of our coin enthusiasts would definitely love to hear that that you're talking about such an important thing, because currency is one of the most essential things. Trading and currency have changed over the years, and coins are definitely something not new, but still we use it to this day, and I think it's a great way of a exchange of things. I mean, there's so much history with coins, so I love that, and I really want that $10 million coin. I don't know about you, but I'd have it on a wall. Thank you so much, Kevin, for your news. I absolutely adored it. And now it's time to bring you your second gaming news. So very interestingly, Nintendo's next big console, the Switch 2, is set to arrive in just a few days on store shelves. So it's not surprising to see photos showing dozens of Switch 2 consoles sitting in store warehouses and back areas. However, what's really unexpected was a bunch of Switch 2 consoles to be sitting in a metal cage in the middle of a Target already. So the $450 Nintendo Switch 2 really does literally launch next week-ish. on June the 5th. And after years of rumors and leaks and more rumors, it's nearly time to buy one of these consoles. And what's really interesting is that the consoles themselves have been making their way to stores in time for players to pick them up next week. And thanks to Redditors and retail employees, they have gotten photos, evidence that Switch 2 consoles are indeed arriving at big box stores. But really surprising, on May 26th, a YouTuber, Jake Randall, posted a photo that appears to show 20 or more Switch 2 consoles sitting inside a metal cage on wheels inside a Target. Based on the items near the cage, it seems this Target just left the consoles locked up in the electronics department between some phones and TVs. And this Target seems to be begging someone brave and stupid, obviously, with some wire cutters to show up and maybe snag a few Nintendo Switch 2 consoles, or just push the whole cart, which, let me remind you, is on wheels out of the store. And honestly, anybody could have done it, but unfortunately, there was nothing happened, so no interesting news on that. But very interestingly, yes, Switch 2 consoles and games are now sitting inside retail stores like Target and Walmart, which means that there are likely that a few of these have probably already been swiped by people or have accidentally gone missing. I wouldn't be too shocked to hear that people showing off some leaked footage of Switch 2 games running on consoles that slipped out the door before June the 5th. I definitely would not just have the Switch 2s lying about, because that seems like pretty poor management. But I've heard if you steal a Switch console and you're caught, you will be hunted down. Not by the security officer, by the government itself, actually. So don't steal, guys. But what's really shocking is that just seeing them out in the open, guys, we still have a week before they release, and they're just out there. I'm surprised people didn't even touch the ones, but Jake Randall did post a recent post saying that technically none of the Nintendo Switch 2 consoles were touched the next time he saw it, and the cart was not there. So either the cart was wheeled away by somebody, or it was put in the right place, and more likely is probably the second option. I hope that you guys are ready for the Switch 2, because it's literally right around the corner. Anyways, let's keep it moving. Next up is Logan, and Logan's be sharing with us his culinary news.
Hello, YouTube. I am Logan, and for this week on Culinary News, the closure of McDonald's spin-off locations, the first quarter winners and losers of the restaurant industry, and a big restaurant exhibition that happened in Chicago. Starting off with our first news story, McDonald's has announced the closure of its Cosmix concept, which is an alien-themed beverage spin-off that was launched in 2023. All 5 locations are to be shut down by next month. Popular drinks from Cosmic included a variety of unique iced lattes, such as a churro latte, turmeric latte, and Galaxy French Toast latte. Some other drinks included their Galactic Boost Lemonade line, which included flavors like berry hibiscus and sour cherry burst, as well as their Stellar Sips line, which included flavors like blackberry mint and fruit punch. Spokespeople for the company said that Cosmix was excellent in helping the brand develop new beverages, and say that some of Cosmic's most popular drinks may return in McDonald's main menu offerings in the future. Going on to our next story, on May 22nd, the website Restaurant Dive has reported the profits of many establishments to determine the biggest winners and losers of this year's first quarter. Some of the biggest winners included Chili's, whose same-store sales growth, say that 10 times fast, has increased by 30% since last year. Cava is also another one that reported similar double-digit growth, as well as Taco Bell with a 9% increase in growth, 1% higher than what they had initially projected. Some of the biggest losers this last quarter, though, includes McDonald's, who we talked about prior, with a 3.6% decline, as well as some pizza places like Pizza Hut with a 5% decline, and Papa John's with a 3% decline. Also on May 22nd was when the National Restaurant Association show in Chicago had concluded after 4 days of showing off the latest innovations in restaurant technology. The event was attended by over 53,000 food service professionals and featured over 2,000 exhibiting companies, 800 of which made their debut at this very show. Some show floor highlights included a vibrant marketplace, AI-powered tools, innovative new ingredients, and sustainable solutions aimed at boosting efficiency and guest experience. Other noteworthy parts of the show included a keynote by TV chef Clara Hall sharing her journey, as well as the Fabby Food and Beverage Awards, where 39 recipients competed to show off their most innovative and delicious food and drink products. Anyway, that just about wraps up this week's culinary news. Thank you all for listening. Back to you, Aiden.
Logan, I must say, first of all, very worried. The small businesses are shrinking slowly but surely, and the big companies are growing bigger and bigger. I really hope that we don't lose any restaurants, because I've already seen so many close down. And also, I did not know that there was something called the Fabby Awards. I think that is absolutely amazing. Honestly, I want to kind of attend it, because apparently if you do attend it, you get to try out all new types of foods that are coming into like businesses, or trying out new beverage flavors, as you said. And honestly, that just looks absolutely fantastic. I think next year for 2026, I'm definitely gonna have to be out there, because honestly, it looks absolutely fantastic. Anyways, thank you so much, Logan. I appreciate it. I'm going to be bringing with you guys some community news. So I will say we've had a lot of stuff done today. I will say that this week has been interesting, to say the least. We are doing a lot of stuff. We are getting ready for things. And very important, the first thing that I'll talk about is that, if you guys know, I know I'm saying it so early, but the Sound of Music Festival is going to be happening in June down the road. And starting tomorrow, I'm going to get started with my art crew, to get the decoration for the float all started, because we have been invited to decorate the float. And what better way to spend a Saturday morning than to paint with our friends, our community, and it's going to be amazing. On this week, we had our usual Friday Kahoot, our Wednesday art class, where we did a whole bunch of nature-inspired landscapes. We did a nighttime piece. That was my focus, because I really wanted to do it. We had a ton of awesome things, like Puneet teaching us how to make, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, a chickpea salad. I'm pretty sure it was a chickpea salad. I was painting during that, or I was creating something during that day. We had tons of awesome things like Tabata. We had Qigong. We had so many things like Chat as well. It was a really fun week. Next week's going to be an off week, but I'm excited to know what is going to happen on our next on week. That's what we discuss every morning at 9:30 on our off week. So very short community news, because you know what? We always do our Kahoots. We always do our art club. But what's really important is those community events. Honestly, very important. And if you know, our super ability crew is getting ready and raring up to go to the technically the All Abilities World Curling in Spain. So I'm really excited about that. That's way down the road, like 3 weeks down the road, but nonetheless, it is coming up soon. Anyways, though, this has been your community news. I hope that you liked it, and time to bring it. I did say that we will have Jeff, so we have a recording of Jeffrey with some recorded music.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey. I'm here to bring you some live music. Hope you're ready to hear some live music. I'm going to be playing Jelly Roll, one of my original songs. slide your eyes and slide. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let your smile go. You can do anything. At your pockets in your chain. Other feet, rearrange from high to sky. You show your one step forward, two step back. Throw your head side to side, your eye and slide. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let the smile go. You can do this again. And your focus in your chin. And in your face, rearrange your high and high. Be the best you can be. That means you say, you know you gotta live, change your own. One step forward, two steps back. Throw your head side to side, your eyes and slide. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let your smile go. You will, if you can, let's go. And your focus in your chin. Under that face, rearrange your eyes and slide. Be the best you can be. Let the aliens say it. Yeah, yeah, will chip, down your roll. One step forward, two steps back. Throw your head side to side, your eye and side. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let your smile go. You can do, yes you can. Anytime, do, show you roll. One step forward, two steps back. Throw your head side to side, up high and slide. Shake your hands to and fro. Never let this fire go. You can do it again. Do, show you roll. One step forward, two steps back. Throw your head side to side, up high and slide. Thank you, everybody. This is Jeffrey, your live musician. See you all next week, and make sure to check out my website, jeffreyrickman.com. Anyways, back to you, Eden. Bye, everybody.
All right. Thanks to Jeff for that recording. Appreciate it. And honestly, guys, out of all of the songs that Jeff does, I think that his best works are definitely I think his custom songs, his songs that are unique to him. So Jelly Roll, Fish Named Terry. I love these songs, and I hope that he continues to make these amazing beats. I'll help him write the lyrics. He'll write the beats. Honestly, it's absolutely fantastic. Makes me so happy. And unfortunately, guys, this does bring us to the end of our Youth Connect. If you like Youth Connect, can you like, comment, and subscribe?
And don't forget to click the bell.
Thank you so much for doing that last one, guys. I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Do something fantastic. And I hope you enjoy your weekend. Have fun, guys. And we will see you all in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.